Legend of the Galactic Heroes' new thesis proves that the greatest battle isn't a political one, but choosing between Jessica and Frederica. But, onto more important topics. In AD 3596, there are three warring factions. 1. The Galactic Empire, a dictatorship led by Emperor Rudolph IV. 2. The Free Planets Alliance, a representative democracy. And 3. The Dominion of Pheasant, a planet state, the intergalactic version of a city-state that is aligned with the Empire, but also maintains a relationship with the Alliance. In those warring factions, we have two young men rising through the ranks, Reinhard von Leichengram of the Galactic Empire, and Yang Wenli of the Free Planets Alliance. This series is about their journey in life while battling each other using politics, military, and their wits. Originally, Legend of the Galactic Heroes are a set of books which were adapted into an OVA from 1988 to 1997. Most people will know this as the anime that's in the top 5 on Mal, and why the hell is it 110 episodes? This version was made by the studio Production IG, of course of Ghost in the Shell fame. They set out to adapt a new version of the story in which the setup to the series is a 12-episode anime and the meat of the series story into 3 movies set to release through 2020. This is technically a remake, but shares a lot more with the original novels than the OVAs, which took liberties with the story.
It is but a fluke of history. The inevitable repetition of human conflict. The terrible familiarity of war.
The one thing I always come back to with new Thesis is that the space battles are incredibly simple. Of course, this is one of the both lesser known things about the series and at the same time, the most known thing about it. While a memed and ridiculously overblown issue, the series space battles are indeed quite simple, but are often labeled as stupid or dumb because of their simplicity. I think differently on this aspect and lean more towards them just being simple. But we're not here to talk about what other people think. I think these space battles, while being simple, do the job incredibly well at conveying the scale of space and what we're dealing with, and how difficult it should be to control 5,000 to 20,000 fleets of spaceships. I'm a sucker for anime that can explain something well, and I'm a bigger fan if they can show it with little dialogue. Sure, this anime has many problems of what you see on screen, but in terms of dealing with the scale of space battles, this anime almost nails it 100%. Nailing these space battles and their scale is very important though, because without the scale of these battles, you have a huge setting in your anime not being fully explored. Now, coming back to the simplicity, I would have enjoyed more complicated battles and more strategy involved. I don't think that the anime or story wouldn't have benefited from it. Just like how not exploring the setting of space and the scale of it, it would also be a mistake to not explore the more in-depth and thorough battle strategies that would be involved in something of that scale. That being said, the simplicity of the battles do not harm my enjoyment, and nor should they. And if they do, I'm not sure what you expected, to be honest. And the reason I say this is because, while the series is known for being a space opera, at no point does the anime actually say that that's what it's all about. Space battles are just another facet to the series overall, and I think making them better is completely fine and a valid argument. But at the same time, I feel overblowing the importance of them and claiming it a major flaw to not have them all be super complicated is wrong.
It's a matter of numbers and placement. Consider the battlefield. Their fleet is split into 3 forces. In total, they have more ships. But our fleet is bigger than each of the 3 units, which means we can overpower them and take them out one group at a time.
The most important aspect to this anime, and this whole franchise, is the characters. Going into this anime, I knew that I would have to be analyzing them a bit further than other anime I would review. This is what the fans and you potential viewers should be aware of too. Legend of the Galactic Heroes is long celebrated as this political space opera where characters are developed and built up for a very long time, and have to deal with many conflicts throughout. Frankly, its characters are really compelling because of this. Even in 12 episodes, they wasted not one iota of character development, and while Reinhard has significantly less screen time, I still felt what I saw was meaningful and extremely important to the story. In other words, I think that this series does a near perfect job with what they had in front of them.
Still embarrassed.
Yeah, you're definitely different. Hold on, empty-handed Yang. Is that you?
That being said, I think because of Reinhard's lessened involvement initially, he becomes a somewhat glorified villain of sorts. I have not seen much of the original OVA, but the shift in focus to Yang Wen Li, which, good for that character, leaves Reinhard a little out in the cold. To me, he is nothing more than a really well-characterized, sympathetic villain. That being said, I'm not saying there is anything wrong with this. Likely the most compelling and best episode is easily the episode that focuses on Reinhard's backstory. I feel like we weren't getting the Reinhard that people know and love, but rather getting the same Reinhard, but one that's tone and motivations seem more malicious and more villainous than sympathetic and somewhat heroic. If there are any OVA viewers, please tell me down in the comments if my assumption on this are correct.
Count Reinhard von Lohengrin, I name you the Imperial Fleet Admiral. I also grant you the title of Vice Commander of the Imperial Space Fleet.
But overall, I think this anime excels at character development and connecting you emotionally to these characters. Examples of characters I loved, even without seeing much from them, is a pretty long list. Characters like Frederica, that has a unique and interesting connection to Yang Wen Li that borders on unrequited love. What about Schoenkoff, who defected from the Empire with 6 others who brutally fought in wars for the Alliance to only defect back to the Empire, except for him, who earned the trust of Yang Wen Li. And he also has an incredible sense of humor, which you can't help but laugh at the second after you realize what he just said. If there is one thing that New Thesis does perfectly on its own, let me make that distinction. Without considering it as a remake, this anime, virtually speaking, has really well done characters and characterizations. The only low point it ever hits is, well, decent character interactions, which technically isn't a low at all, but still leaves something to be desired.
I plan on living to be about 150 years, lying on my deathbed while listening to my grandkids and great-grandkids crying for joy at the thought of finally being rid of me.
Legend of the Galactic Heroes' one claim over the original OVA is that the art is simply better made because of the technology available. To me, they still don't match the original OVA, which has this nostalgic feel to it, but the designs aren't slouches for New Thesis. Designs like Yang Wen Li, Reinhard, Jessica, Frederica, and Schoenkoff are exceptional and shows off that clean and highly polished style Production IG is known for, and the outfits they wear are unique and updated for modern audiences. The blue jacket, Commodore hats, and white pants with dress shoes is a staple of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Same goes for the Empire's black suits with a sleek design on their shoulders and upper chest. But the lacking designs, in my opinion, are the ships that aren't the leader ships. They all look the same on both sides, and because of that, makes me feel like their numbers are expendable and shouldn't be something I really care about, which is a shame, but at the same time, understandable, as there are sometimes hundreds of ships in view at any given time, and you can't uniquely design them all. But the highest point of the series to me is the backgrounds and designs of the planets. The reason is because the Alliance planets look totally different from the Empire's. For example, the Alliance has this brilliant architecture that is futuristic with a modern, sleek style to it. The Empire, on the other hand, is very old-fashioned, and their society is more technologically backwards and looks older. It's little touches like this that make New Thesis' art much better than the original OVAs in terms of technicality.
Fire now.
Animation-wise, New Thesis provides some remarkable CGI that stands out from the other offerings. From the brilliant display of the space battles and how it conveys the scale of it visually, this anime is brilliant in that regard. While simple, the ship's battles show off how far the series has come from hand-drawn bricks to ships that are being ripped apart by railgun shots. How about just seeing the rounds fly through space all at once? It reminds me of when an army fires arrows into the sky all at once to rain down arrows on their enemy. It's an awesome visual to see, and something the industry wasn't able to fully realize until now with this new technology. As for things like facial expressions and general animation, they're good as well. Character emotions emanate vividly and show that, while it may not be a thing you'll notice every time, when you do, it's always special and very well done. Hiroyuki Sawano. Well, first of all, I absolutely hate this opening to New Thesis, and I'll tell you why. The opening is a ripoff of Starship's Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, which you may be saying, well, see, My dude, there are so many songs out there and only a limited selection of notes to select. This was likely an accident, or at the very least not intended. And I'll give you that. On that last part, it may not have been intended, but the song has literally the exact same chorus. There is virtually no difference. That being said, the ending is okay, and the score is where the most notable, less plagiarized work happens. The most notable piece in this anime music-wise is the fast-paced, heavy piano during ship battles. This piece is so excellent and shows that you don't need classical music to have a good score. I wouldn't say it's better than the OVA. I would rather put the score on the level of the OVAs because both have their own faults. The OVAs have an over-reliance on the classical pieces, and New Thesis has an over-reliance on this one piece of music that I just talked about. Legend of the Galactic Heroes New Thesis is a remake that stands on its own, and its gross overreaction from longtime fans is nothing you really should be paying attention to seriously. The political intrigue of the fascist autocracy known as the Empire battling against the Alliance's democracy ran by greed and corrupt politicians is a fascinating battle of beliefs, ideologies, and politics. This is a show that will delve into those deeper subjects. It will be a commentary on dictatorships, democracy, and much more. This isn't just battling spaceships. This is a space opera, and it's nothing like one of Marvel's. It's a truly massive universe that leaves you wanting more by the end of this series. Do I recommend Legend of the Galactic Heroes New Thesis? Yes, absolutely. With that being said, thank you all for watching this review. This I found to be one of my better reviews. I waited quite a bit to do this one, and the reason I wanted to wait to do this one and release it a little bit later is because, well, I wanted to get my thoughts together pretty straight on this anime. I felt there was a lot of things to analyze and to look at and to take into account, especially with the arguments from the other side and from hardcore fans and from the people who grossly overreacted to a lot of the things they saw from this remake. I think there was a lot to take in, and I thought that I took it all in well enough. I did my research when I could, and I think it paid off. And I hope this video is popular, I hope this video is well liked, and I hope you guys liked it. So, as always, I gotta ask, did my review persuade you to watch this anime, or to not watch it? What are your thoughts on Legend of the Galactic Heroes New Thesis, and how does it stand to the original OVA? I want to know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and always know, thank you for supporting me. And if you haven't already, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and ring that bell. I appreciate it all. I love it. And as a reminder, before you go, I have a Legend of the Galactic Heroes OVA series coming out where I'll be reviewing each episode one by one. It's going to be a little different than my seasonal anime reviews. This is going to be taking my time, meaning you may not see an episode 2 to 3 weeks at a time. I will be, though, starting this series in August, and it will be at least one video a month. And the first thing I will be doing is episode 1. I know a lot of people asked me, will I be doing the movies first? I decided against that for now. I may do it after the first 2 episodes of the original OVA, though. The movie is really hard to find. It's not on High Dive like the OVA series is. But other than that, thank you all for watching. I appreciate all the support you give me, and I hope you guys are excited for the OVA review series I'll be doing. It should be interesting. I'll see you later. Bye-bye!